Counter-accusations from both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza camps have left the country in limbo on what to expect from both President Ruto and the Azimio leader. Since August 2022 elections, President William Ruto and opposition chief Raila Odinga have maintained hardline positions on handshake. The president on his side maintained that Raila Odinga will never have a piece of his government through a forced handshake, while Raila Odinga insists he does not want handshake. What will be the endgame? In case you missed it, Bushebi Jr. explains.
Since August 2022 elections, President William Ruto and opposition chief Raila Odinga have maintained hardline positions, dismissing a possibility of a cooperation deal.
I think we need to get to a point where Raila Odinga also needs to say the same thing. The election did not go the way I wanted. Let's now move to the next step. How do you want me to represent you as an opposition leader? We need to move away from the last election. We cannot keep claiming that election was stolen. I was in the government side from 2017 to 2022. There is nothing that Ruto did that we did not try to do. He just did it better than us. And I think sometimes it's important to give credit where it is due. The odds of Ruto becoming president in the circumstances in which we were operating were very, very low. He made it. He's going to be president for 4.5 years as we speak.
Counter-accusations from both camps have left the country in limbo on what to expect from both President Ruto and the Azimio leader.
Hawawezi kutupeleka katika priorities zao, ya vyeo yao, ya biashara zao, ya mambo ya familia zao. Ndugu yangu mdogo Kimani Ichung'wah, asante sana. Mumekubali mchukue hii jukumu ya kung'ang'ana na hiyo mzee kutoka kwangu. Mimi nikae na rais tusukume maendeleo. Sasa wewe Kimani Ichung'wah na Dende na wale wengine akina Haramat Tongoyo, ile group yetu ilimalizana na Azimio na ikamalizana na system na deep state. Hakuna pahali imeenda. Sasa the chairmanship of Kimani Ichung'wah, hiyo team uamshe haraka.
Kwanza tunataka Commonwealth Secretariat na United Nations itume inspectors hapa Kenya. Sio bwana Ruto, mnaelewa vizuri. Within the next 2 weeks, la sivyo wa Kenya watachukua hatua yao wenyewe.
The president on his side maintained that Raila Odinga will never have a piece of his government through a forced handshake.
Wakafanya ukarabati sijui nini, wakapata cooperation. Wakakuja tena wakafanya ukarabati sijui gani, wakapata nusu mkate. Wakakuja wakakoroga uganga na ukora, wakapata handshake. Hii hawapati.
This has not gone down well with Azimio leader, who came out to clear the air on the matter, claiming that he is not seeking any form of negotiation with President Ruto.
Juzi mliona bwana Ruto na bwana Gachagua, hii mambo ya maandamano tunajua ni nini? Tunaambia bwana Ruto, wewe hujui sisi. Hujui sisi. Kwenda uliza bwana Nyayo. Baba yako uliza bwana Nyayo. Hujui sisi.
The former premier even went ahead to organize his second no handshake rally at Jacaranda ground. However, pundits of governance and political analysis argue that either way, a consensus has to be reached between the two leaders, even if it meant a handshake.
50 million Kenyans right now are worried about the cost of living. That is not the primary conversation you're hearing when you tell us to go out and have demonstrations or have mass action. Because let's be honest, these calls for barazas are ultimately meant to end in mass action. We are looking for sympathy. We want the police to come to the streets up against their brothers and sisters who are their fellow Kenyans who are civilians and have a violent engagement.
With Raila Odinga leading the opposition troops in castigating and claiming the August 9th elections victory, political gurus insist that President Ruto has to reach out to Raila Odinga. The president has gone ahead to condemn the Azimio rallies, saying that they were being financed by unnamed people who have and want to continue evading paying taxes.
Even if they sponsor demonstrations so that they don't pay tax, I want to promise them they will pay tax. There's no more exemption. This country is not the animal farm.
Some Kenya Kwanza leaders have gone ahead to drag the name of the former President Uhuru Kenyatta as the sponsor of the Azimio rallies across the country.
Na wewe Steve, usijali huyu watu wanapiga mdomo, acha wapige bana. Unajua mtu ambaye hana kitu kingine ya kufanya lazima apige mdomo. Acha wapige mdomo. Hiyo ni dunia. Sisi tunaendelea na yetu. You know, there are two types of people. There are people who talk a lot about what they will do and do nothing. And those are many. But there are people who will talk very little but do a lot and their deeds are seen.
It is yet to be known whether Ruto will reach out to Raila Odinga for fear of suffering the legitimacy baggage that his predecessor, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, suffered in the 2017 elections. With Ruto's administration seemingly lacking focus in engaging the opposition party, it only helps fuel the speculation of legitimacy with Kenya Kwanza government falling into Azimio's trap by making it a shouting match.
Mwingine akisema ati William Ruto anataka kuteua commission ya IBC peke yake. Wewe rais haukuwa bunge tukitengeneza hiyo sheria. I can confirm all members of parliament wa Azimio walikuwa bunge tukitengeneza hiyo sheria. I was listening yesterday to one of our politicians who was alleging that members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission went to his house.
Moi was forced into cooperation with Raila Odinga. Kibaki was forced into a coalition government with Raila Odinga. Uhuru was forced into a handshake. It is Ruto's turn. And for all we know, for all intents and purposes, Raila might actually succeed in getting Ruto to come and sit with him. But we have to ask ourselves, and then what? And then what? Are we able to sit as a country and agree that when an election is finished, it is finished?
Previously, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua affirmed that if Ruto was to sit with Odinga, the talks should revolve around his retirement strategy from politics.
Hiyo mzee hatutaki kwa serikali yetu. Na huyo mtu wacha afanye maandamano asubuhi, saa 7 jioni hakuna handshake.
Azimio, on the other hand, through Jubilee's Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni, dismissed the possibility of a political truce between Ruto and Raila, stating that the Azimio leader was in no need of a handshake with the current administration, which he called planless, illegitimate and clueless.
Tuko na serikali hapa imejaa waizi. Na wale ambao wataikoboa Kenya ni wale wachache ambao hawataangalia nyuma. Sisi katika Jubilee nataka kukuambia kiongozi wetu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta alipokuwa naondoka alituambia kiongozi yake ni Bamba. Haro. Na kwa hivyo kiongozi yangu ni akisema ruka ninaruka, akisema twende na usigoje kitu kingine. Don't waste your time with the social media saying maneno mingi na watu wengine wapige safari. Hiyo wataenda, wakifika huko tutawakuta, tutawafurusha pamoja na hao wezi.
We want tear gas to be thrown so that the country, the world can see Kenyans have not agreed on the last election. Why? So that we can negotiate. For what? For personal positions. Recently somebody asked, today Raila's daughter is a member of parliament for Yala, sent by this government. Kalonzo's son is a member of parliament for Yala, sent by this government. So when you wake up and tell us that you do not recognize this government. What are you saying?
It remains to be seen how this plays out, given that Ruto's administration has been in power for 6 months, with the public filled with high expectations of the government reducing the cost of living. For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Bishabi Jr.